I'm going to talk about our teacher because apparently you're not going to.
Hold on,
we ran into her at the bar.
Wait, shut up.
I'm not going to.
I'm trying to check my pulse.
And she immediately remembered you, and she was fond. I think she was happy to see you at first.
Was she?
It seemed like it. Happy, like, wow, James, good to see you again, right? Had typical conversations.
For my birthday.
I waited, I guess it was for your birthday. I waited for my time to strike because I don't think she remembers me immediately, but I thought if I talked to her for a little bit, I would get into, like, her remembering it.
She didn't remember you?
Not immediately, but as we were talking, she was like, everything is flooding back to me. I remember David Miller. Because I didn't say my full name. I was like, hi, I'm David. Do you remember? And she said, David Miller, slowly came back. And I was telling her about how her class specifically was one of my favorites. About when she came back from her maternity leave, we just caused torment to her. We would hum in her class. And to my shock, she was not happy about it.
No.
She said, why do you think that was okay to do to a pregnant woman? And I said, I almost said her name, but I was like, what? Let's call her Nana. Nana?
That's your mother.
I know.
Dude. Yep.
I said, Nana, why do you think I wasn't going to apologize? I was trying to get to that. And she's like, thank you. She was like so rude about it to me. She's like, that's all I wanted. And I was like, Jesus.
Really?
She didn't seem happy. And then as I was like reminding her, she goes, oh, I didn't like James.
Yeah.
And she was like slowly getting all these bad memories of our class, which was easily the worst class ever designed in the history of our high school days.
Yeah, we had a bad class. There was one day where
don't go into it first. Let's start off by saying going into the semester, I had noticed it was 7th hour U.S. History too. Yeah. And I started looking around. I was like, hey, I got this class. And I was like, oh, this person has this class? You're a class clown.
Yeah. Everybody
we noted the lunch. It was like a lunch period.
We went up to our vice principal and we were like,
hey, you realize that the 15 of the biggest class clowns are all in the same class.
These people are all in the same class. Did you think this one through? He goes, I don't do this, but that sounds awful.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to switch out of the class, they can.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was trying to get us to switch out of the class. I was like, no, I'll stay.
Also, it did not help that she was on maternity leave for the first 2 months.
See, she also told me that she was there at the start of the year.
No, that's not true. She just got misremembered.
That's what it was, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I know she would have forget her.
She might have meant the start of the year as in, like, the beginning of the school year, but not for us.
Yeah.
The start of the semester was, I don't know, his name, Dirge?
Yeah.
That's what the fuck we...
Yeah,
I don't know.
He always had these yokes of the day, and every time he'd tell them, they were, like, just trash.
You know...
And I'd crack up of laughter. And then he'd go, Schnoots, this one's for you. And then he'd read this yoke of the day. That was always
Schmatz.
Like,
he just said
Schmatz.
He said your last name wrong every time. And I don't think he remembered. I think he was genuine.
Yeah, I know.
And his yokes of the day were just shit yokes.
Yeah, yokes.
And they were just the worst pieces of shit jokes ever.
They were always dad jokes.
But if you just like overly screamed with laughter, and he was like, dude, I'm killing it up here. Hey, Schmoots, you're good.
Hey, Schmoots, that was a good one, huh? And he'd say that every single time.
Do you think we got worse as the year went on when she came back, or do you think it was worse with the substitutes? Because I thought it was actually pretty tame-ish with the Dirge.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad with him, honestly. But like half the time I just wouldn't show up, and I'd have like people go, yeah, James is here.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And like I wouldn't be in the class at all.
We used to pick on this, fat kid. I didn't want to tell anyone. Yeah, fat kid.
Yeah.
And U.S. History 2 books are not small.
Yeah, they were about this thick.
And they were hardcover books. And when he was talking shit, we would all throw our hardcover books at him.
Yeah.
How many?
Well, I threw one, and he was like, "Why the fuck would you do that, James?" And he was like, "That's like not cool." And as he was like saying that's not cool, I took another one and chucked it at him.
And then that started.
And then everybody was like, "Oh, bam, bam, bam!" And he had his back turned because he was looking at me. Yeah. And like 8 of them hit him.
Oh yeah,
at least 8. And they just kept on chucking it at him.
And nobody could stop it.
No. Well, we had a lot of things that you just couldn't stop. Like, we had one kid who wasn't like a bad kid. I feel like we brought it out of him because there's so many. Like he was surrounded by.
Right. One of the things is there was probably like 6 class clowns who were going to be bad no matter what. And then there was like the bottom people who would only be bad unless if they saw like a window.
Yeah.
And we had all those kids as well. So these kids would push it to the limit but never go over.
Yeah, and so he started like humming.
Yeah.
And he'd start up hums, and then we'd just be like, and like the entire class would do it. And one time she got so fed up.
What's
with it.
interesting about hums is you cannot pinpoint who
Yeah.
the fuck is humming in a classroom of 30 people.
Ever.
It's impossible.
Yeah, and she got so fed up with it one day. She was like, "Next person that hums is getting kicked out of my class for the rest of the semester."
And there was no
was
waiting.
like, it was
Every
on a cue.
person just started.
There was like 15 people that just
The
started
whole
humming.
classroom started to laugh. Even she decided to laugh to that.
Yeah.
I tried to tell her that story. She just wouldn't hear it.
No?
She just tried to get away from me.
Well,
I was hounding her.
I was talking to her, and she was just like, you could clearly see like the anxiety in her face. She was like, "Oh,
She's a little drunk too, right?
I don't think so.
It seemed like it a little bit.
I don't think she was that
Or a
drunk.
little tipsy.
But
Maybe.
she definitely was like, oh my God, I gotta get out of this. I need to leave. And I just kept on making her more and more uncomfortable.
I said, hi Nana. I know you don't remember me, but you will. And she goes, wow, way to like just call me out.
Well,
I don't let people slide on that.
well, her husband has the same name as you.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember your name.
Yeah, his name is also David.
Yeah.
And my parents once went to a parent-teacher conference for my sister later on. And they were like, hey, you remember my son, right?
Dude, my pulse is like,
He goes, yeah,
all-time
yeah,
high.
Michael Miller. Are you nervous today? What's going on with you?
I'm just still like a little bit.